Morning. This is Don V from Truth Be Told, and we have a couple news reports I'd like to share with you. Before we move to it, please remember to subscribe. Most of the people who view my videos are not subscribers, and it's completely free and only takes a second. Without ado, let's go ahead and move right to it. It says GOP representative reveals grave national security concerns about unvetted Afghan evacuees leaving U.S. Army bases. One of the things that's been concerning about the way the Biden team conducted evacuations from Afghanistan is who they actually got out when they were supposed to be evacuating Americans, SIV holders and other Afghans who helped the U.S. during the war and who were now at risk of being killed by the Taliban. The Biden team has yet to provide any kind of breakdown beyond the number of Americans, approximately 6,000 among the 124,000 people they got out. There's been no breakdown of the number of SIVs and those who helped the U.S. or who might have come in under parole. That is the DHS Security's decision, basically to take people for humanitarian reasons. According to one estimate, some 80,000 SIVs were left behind. The SIVs are the most vetted people. Everyone else who knows what kind of vetting they had. It's unreal that Biden's team doesn't have the breakdown, since that was the reason they were supposed to be getting people out, not just taking people who showed up at the airport. As NORTHCOM Commander General Glenn Van Herrick, who is responsible for the 8 cities on military bases where approximately 25,600 Afghan evacuees are being held, speculated, the vast majority are not SIVs at this time. They're asylum seekers that will be determined on how we're going to work them. He says they're going to ultimately have 50,000 on the bases. The Biden team had previously claimed that no one would be allowed to come to the U.S. without being fully vetted. After saying that, they had to admit that 10,000 already brought here would need additional screening. Also, 100 of the people evacuated the U.S. even had ties to terrorists, including the Taliban or other terrorist groups. Two of the flag people have caused such concerns now that they were sent to Kosovo for further review because of security concerns. Translation: you have thousands of not fully vetted people who weren't even necessarily people who helped the U.S. or these bases in this country. According to Fox, Representative Mark Green, Republican of Tennessee, a veteran who served in Afghanistan, expressed a lot of concern about the situation on Laura Ingram's show last night, explaining that he sent a letter to the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, after he received information from a source that Afghans being held at the Virginia military base, Fort Pickett, had free reign of the Army base and were even leaving using ride-sharing apps like Uber without anyone stopping them, despite not being fully vetted. He also said that the military had no authority to arrest or stop anyone from leaving. He demanded answers from Blinken, saying that this obviously posed a concerning national security risk. Green said that this problem wasn't only at Fort Pickett, and this wasn't the fault of the military. The State Department is failing to give the Pentagon adequate information. They don't know exactly how many evacuations are even there, so they can't account for someone if they don't return, he said. And they're telling the people, if you go and don't come back, that will injure visa processing. If they want free, they're gone, and there is nobody keeping them from leaving. Green said the State Department didn't seem to care that there might be Taliban among the other people. We don't have biometrics on a good portion of these people, and we can't really get information from the state because they won't provide names. The State Department is a complete failure. We have no way of knowing who they are, and we've had talks with people who are saying they know Taliban is in some of these flights. So this is one of the greatest security risks this nation has ever had, and the Prez and his State Department don't seem to care, he concluded. State Department then refused to comment on this to Fox, which is consistent with their complete lack of transparency on the whole issue. Moving on. And the pundit says, protesters heckle Kamala or Camel Toe Harris as she campaigns for Gavin Newsom in California. The most unwanted and unpopular VP in modern U.S. history traveled to California to campaign with Governor Gavin Newsom ahead of the recall election. Newsom held a vote no and rally in San Leandro on Wednesday, and a last-minute boost before the recall election next week. Governor Newsom sounded unhinged as he invited Kamala Harris onto the stage. Now, the number of things that had to happen for Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris's moment is sort of mind-blowing. There's a link here. Some of the protesters showed up to heckle Newsom. Just a few anti-Gavin Newsom protesters are here, including this guy in Reagan mask, and also a Democratic firefighter who's voting to recall Newsom because of his PG&E settlement over the Paradise Fire. But most of the demonstrators showed up to protest Kamala Harris. Californians rallied to protest Kamala Harris for her involvements in the Recall Newsom campaign and ignorance on the current national crisis. You need to take care of your job before trying to help other lagging mates. Is she helping Newsom? There's a link here. The protesters got louder as Kamala Harris took the stage. Afghan American women angry with the way Biden-Harris administration handled Afghanistan protested Kamala Harris. Most of the protesters outside Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom rally turned out to be local Afghan American women angry with Biden-Harris administration over the collapse of Afghanistan. The GOP trolled Kamala Harris with a mobile billboard. The GOP also hit Kamala Harris over Afghanistan with this mobile billboard. Something tells me they planned this for an originally scheduled car rally that was canceled 2 weeks ago. Oh, this is tragic. Watch. Massive Robert E. Lee statue dismantled in Richmond after Virginia Supreme Court greenlit removal. A 12-ton statue of Robert E. Lee, the largest remaining Confederate monument, has been taken down in Richmond. The removal was ordered by Democrat Governor Ralph Northam last year, triggering a bitter court battle. Worker crews showed up at the equestrian monument early on Wednesday, taking it down from its pedestal with a massive crane. The removal of the statue, which used to be the largest Confederate monument still standing in the U.S., attracted a crowd of onlookers who cheered as the statue was lifted into the air. Yeah, they were probably BLM. Statue of Robert E. Lee has been repeatedly vandalized in the last year amid Black Lives Matter protests, which is pedestal script with graffiti and marred in paint. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam ultimately ordered its removal back in June of 2020. The decision triggered a lawsuit from residents and a dissident of signatures who granted the deed to the property where the statue stands. The plaintiffs argued the governor lacked the authority to remove the monument and said it should remain in place forever according to the original deed. The lawsuit ultimately ended up in Virginia's Supreme Court, which has unanimously ruled that due to values changes and public policy changes, the state had the power to remove the statue if it wished to. The display of Robert E. Lee statue as a public monument communicates principles that many believe to be inconsistent with the values of the Commonwealth currently wishes to express, the court argued. Well, they're doing it, slowly but surely, bit by bit, dismantling our history. Got to make sure, where history is forgotten, we're doomed to repeat it. So, just keep pushing, keep pushing. At any rate, this is Don V, broadcasting sunny skies here in Arizona. Hope everybody has a wonderful Thursday, and we are out of here.